What's up, NBA fan? What's up, all sports fans? This your boy JB, host of the Behind the Bench Podcast Network and channel, giving a shout out to the rest of the crew. Shad, Kelvin, Jermaine, KB Film Room, Big Dog Talk Sports. That's right, that's right. Everyone who's tuning in, thank you for supporting Behind the Bench. Subscribe to the channel. Help make this show the best that it can be. NBA playoffs. I must say, man, I'm telling you, man, when that bad element is out the way and has been removed from the equation, you get a genuine playoff outcome, man. It's a genuine outcome, and you can live with the results. You know, whether your team is winning or not, man, you know exactly where the team stand and the top players stand. That's the beautiful part about playoff basketball, man, and going out there and compete. And every team that's in these playoffs, as of right now, they've been naturally built. And if they did make an acquisition mid-season, it was an appropriate move where there was no manipulation that truly took place. You can see the logic behind it. And no team's future was mortgaged off in the process. So, therefore, man, you know, we're seeing some major upsets so far. Home teams are losing games to the road teams. Hey, it is what it is, man. You know, the best playoffs I've seen in the past 6 years, or this playoffs has been good. The 22 playoffs were exciting to see. I enjoyed it. The 21 playoffs, specifically the NBA Finals between the Milwaukee Bucks and Phoenix Suns, that was a great finals to me. I enjoyed it, man. And what Giannis did, and he put the whole city of Milwaukee on his back, man. And they were down 2-0 in this series. And he delivered in such a way, man, where he really set the tone for this decade in terms of superstars regaining that desire to truly lead their teams, man. And he set the tone for this decade, and he should be recognized in history for being Giannis became a luminator of the sport of basketball when he led Milwaukee to the championship and turned down and bucked the trend, no pun intended, of joining forces with two other superstars. It's been a beautiful thing. But that 2019 playoff, that playoff right there, every round you had a thriller series, man. The officiating was on point. Physicality was there. Balanced play between inside, mid-range, three-point shooting. Defense was great. The fan interaction was awesome, man. The commentary was on point. And I was like, man, see, the thing about it is, man, let me put it this way. When the NBA is where it's supposed to be at any given time at their current moment, do you notice you don't get all this toxic commentary? You don't see former players criticize the current generation. You don't see the current generation and the fans try to trash the past. That's when you know everything is on point. See, when everything is thrown off the axis and manipulated, it produces a situation, an environment where you got both sides clashing today and yesterday. The youth versus, the elders of basketball. So that's my desire as a fan, man, to for the league to get back on point and to uphold the history of the game. You can have a favorite player, that you gravitate to in a favorite squad, but as long as the history is elevated, man, the game is going to be okay. And me personally, what I'm noticing is the the 3-point shot is beginning to lose its, its impact. Because you're seeing too many players, they taking 9, 10 threes, and they're only making like maybe 2 out of 10 3-point attempts. So you're leaving, if you take 10 3-point shots and you're missing 8 of them, well, you potentially leaving 24 points out there. Whereas if you balance it out a little bit and develop a mid-range game, you're going to be more effective, and the three-point shot will carry greater impact, because to me, a three-point shot is a momentum shot, and it really should be relegated to players who have developed an exceptional ability to hit that shot with regularity. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm noticing in these playoffs. And the officials are letting teams play more physical, more physicality is what it's doing is players who rely on their three-point shot throughout the course of the game will come fourth quarter. They don't have the stamina to hit that shot with regularity. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't have the lift on that shot. And the game is starting to revert back to its true essence, meaning what players are going to start noticing is you're going to have to develop that mid-range game. You're going to have to execute in that fourth quarter, in that half-court set, which is going to necessitate the redevelopment of the center position. See, it's all starting to revert back to where it's supposed to be. And the super team era threw everything off whack. It devalued the center position because you got three superstars, mainly two wing players and the front court player, a power forward, joining forces. So what happened was you essentially created 2K basketball, video game basketball, and then the super teams started to figure out or to say, well, to make this work to where we maximize our ability as far as, wing players in the power forward position or the stretch four, we have to essentially eliminate the center position and turn divide the center position into a rim protector and a lob threat. See, all this connects with what's going on with my squad, the Lakers, because after 7 years, they don't have a center on the team. It's because the guy who spearheaded this whole movement of the super team era in summer 2010, well, his system is predicated on floor spacing, open drives to the basket that leads to the drive and kick style of play. So what happens is the Hurricane, he can't flow with a legitimate big man, which is why when the Lakers say they need a center, when the fans of the franchise say why we don't have a big man, well, the root of the problem is the guy that's on the team right now. That's the root of the problem. And that gets me to, because the center is responsible for being, the majority of the time, the top rebounder of the team. Well, the Los Angeles Lakers drafted who's turning out to be the best pound-for-pound rebounder this league has ever seen since the NBA-ABA merger of 1976. In 2017, the Lakers drafted Josh Hart. And I want to play this clip. This is a clip of what was said of Josh Hart right after he was drafted. I want everybody to hear this. And like I said, don't take my word for it, because I remember what was said about him. I'm glad I came across this clip because I did some research. I typed in Josh Hart draft day on YouTube, and it pulled up. The clip is about 2 minutes long. I'm going to turn it up for everybody and listen to what they said about Josh Hart. Listen to what they said.
Just a few moments ago, Jeff Goodman reported that Lakers are going to end up with this pick, a deal with the Jazz. Tony Bradley's on his way to Utah. Jazz going to make this pick.
Last week,
on his way to LA.
With the 30th pick in the 2017 NBA Draft, the Utah Jazz select Josh Hart from Villanova University.
So Derek White.
That marks the end of the first round. Thank you to the great fans here in Barclays. We really appreciate your being here. The second round will be conducted by Deputy Commissioner Mark Tatum.
It took us into the final two picks of the first round to get the first two seniors selected tonight, and Josh Hart, which feels like a Spurs-type pick, selected by Utah on his way to Los Angeles.
Josh Hart, the Eagle Scout, just really had a great career. He's a wing finisher. really tough, an excellent guard rebounder, and an outstanding defender. And one of the better guard offensive rebounders in college basketball, especially over the last 2 years. Primarily a driver, but he can really defend. And he'll be a rotation player, but his defensive presence and his finishing are the best selling points for Josh Hart. And all those merit badges, I mean, he's got to be the first Eagle Scout drafted since Bill Bradley, right?
I'm going to rewind this one more time for everybody. This is what they said about Josh Hart right after he was selected by the Los Angeles Lakers.
As we told you just a few moments ago, Jeff Goodman reported it. Lakers are going to end up with this pick, a deal with the Jazz. Tony Bradley's on his way to Utah. Jazz can make this pick. Last week, he's on his way to LA.
With the 30th pick in the 2017 NBA Draft, the Utah Jazz select Josh Hart from Villanova University.
So Derek White.
That marks the end of the first round. Thank you to the great fans here in Barclays. We really appreciate your being here. The second round will be conducted by Deputy Commissioner Mark Tatum.
It took us into the final 2 picks of the first round to get the first 2 seniors selected tonight, and Josh Hart, which feels like a Spurs-type pick, selected by Utah on his way to Los Angeles.
Josh Hart, the Eagle Scout, just really had a great career. He's a wing finisher, really tough, an excellent guard rebounder, and an outstanding defender. And one of the better guard offensive rebounders in college basketball, especially over the last 2 years. Primarily a driver, but he can really defend.
Now, do you know the word that they emphasize? Rebounder. Rebounder. And I'm going to tell you something. What do they say about the Lakers team the past couple years? They've been one of the worst rebounding teams in the league. Well, after the 2017-2018 season, that season, before they brought the hurricane to the team, the Lakers had the second best rebounding team in the NBA. Only behind the Philadelphia 76ers with Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, and the like. I guess Jimmy Butler was on that team too. They had the second best rebounding team in the NBA. And large part of that was because of Josh Hart, Julius Randle. When he had his breakthrough seasons, he started averaging 20 and 10 when they inserted him to the starting lineup. Lonzo Ball was averaging 7 rebounds a game. He's averaging just as many rebounds a game as the Hurricane. And he was doing it as a rookie. Beat Brandon Ingram with his wingspan, his 7'2" wingspan, 6'8". Ivica Zubac. Brook Lopez was, he wasn't like one of the best rebounders, but like collectively, when you add all them players together, they was the second best rebounding team in the NBA. They had this, Lonzo Ball led their team to the second highest pace team in the NBA. I believe only behind, I want to say, it may have been the Houston Rockets during James Harden's MVP year. Then Chris Paul. And they had the third highest scoring bench in the NBA. So you had the tenets of a future champion where your bench was already high level. Your defense was 10th ranked, second best rebounding team. And then the pace led by Lonzo Ball. That's why their games came down to the last 4 or 5 minutes, where just youth and inexperience was the only thing that held them back. Outside of that, they was on par. And what's crazy is when they brought the Hurricane prior to the Hurricane coming to the team, the Lakers had the youngest team in the NBA per median. They had the youngest team in the NBA. They was trading away some of the older players, like the Timothy Mozgov, the Lou Williams, to bring in young talent. They was trading away a lot of veteran players to acquire draft rights to bring in their young talent. That's why that offseason in 2017, they drafted 4 guys. They got Josh Hart from they acquired the draft rights from the Utah Jazz to select Josh Hart with the last pick of the first round. They drafted Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Josh Hart, and Thomas Bryant. They drafted 4 guys from the same draft. Meaning we had the deepest young core in the National Basketball Association. That's why I can't let this go. So what I'm saying is they drafted Josh Hart. He's coming off a national championship in Villanova. So he has championship pedigree. What did they say about him? What did Jay Billis, who hosts the NBA draft every year on ESPN, he say he's tough. You know, he's an excellent rebounder. He was leading the nation in offensive rebounds and is carried over to his professional career. His rookie year, he was averaging during their 8 points a game. His rookie year. And then when they brought the Hurricane to the team, well, he started bringing the old guys. And then by the next year, they was the year they won the bubble, they was already the oldest team in the league. So you go from the youngest team in the league to the oldest team in the league. That's a record turnaround in terms of trajectory of a team. You have this tremendous future, then you mortgage it off. That's why they're struggling now. That's why they ain't got no big man. That's why they have to trade for a superstar every 2 years to keep the team so-called afloat, but they getting ousted in the first round. But I'm telling you, people, I know what I'm talking about. I watched this young core with precision that year. What I mean is, I sit here and I'm thankful that I did it. You know, things happen for a reason. I watched every regular season game that year. I've never done that. I've never done that. Not saying I didn't want to, but, you know, life, you know, it's only so much time. I watched every game that year. I watched the 5 summer league games, the best summer league tournament in its history, the most televised tournament before or since. It was led by that young core Laker. And I'm telling you, the energy in that Thomas and Mack Center was off the roof, man. It was off the roof because you knew something special was brewing, man. I'm telling you, I had tingles, I had goosebumps, and God is my witness. I'm not trying to exaggerate nothing. So Josh Hart, especially with he should be in a Laker uniform. And I remember when he learned that he was getting traded to the Pelicans, along with Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball for Anthony Davis, he posted a crying emoji, I guess either on Twitter or something like that. He didn't want none of them young men want to leave the Lakers, man. That's why I've had their back the whole time. They're Lakers in heart, man. And you know, and last night, Josh Hart delivered, man. You know, a playoff game, because when they said that, you know, our young core wasn't no good, couldn't help in winning. Well, I tell you what, man. I watched that game last night between the game 2 of the Eastern Conference semifinals between the New York Knicks and Boston Celtics. The Knicks was already up 1 game to 0. And then Boston got to another 20-point lead. Josh Hart kept them in bay, hitting big shots. He wound up leading the team in scoring last night with 23 points. He didn't get double-digit rebounds, but the rebounds he got helped him win that game. Then he got 2 blocks, 3 assists. He showed you championship intangibles, man. And he's a main reason why they're up 2-0 as they came back to defeat the Celtics by the score of 91-90. And he's in the starting lineup. So he's playing above his value. This is what I'm talking about. Ever since this started 7 years ago, the moment you brought the Hurricane to the team, you devalued the franchise, because all he was going to do is force the hand and get rid of all the young talent. So now you have to rely on who he wants to come on the team as mercenaries to try to, you know, microwave their way to a championship. With his method, man, it never really worked. If he had been playing the Western Conference, he would have had to compete. If LBJ, better known as the Hurricane, had to play in that Western Conference, the same Western Conference that Kobe Bryant had a battle in, Shaq, Tim Duncan, you know, Dirk, He ain't going no 8 straight finals. I can guarantee you that. Kobe and Shaq was winning and then go to 8 straight finals. Tim Duncan never went to 8 straight finals. So what I'm saying is, man, his career is largely built on, in terms of the finals. I ain't necessarily talking about his length of time in the league. I'm just talking about as far as how they want him to be projected. The talking heads has been basically relied on manipulation, stacking the deck, forming super teams, poaching players, you playing with 2 other franchise players from your same draft class. So what I'm saying is, people, man, Josh Hart, man, and anybody can research this. I've done the research. And there's been some great rebounders throughout history who was considered undersized and was, rebounding their tail off. Lafayette Lever, better known as Fat Lever, guard for the Denver Nuggets during the late 80s. Oh, man, I was a huge fan of, and I love me some Lakers, but I was a huge fan of Fat Lever, man, because I tell you, boy, he gave you the business, boss. He giving you 8-9 rebounds a game, dog. With this guy right here, man, this guy is 6'5". He going up amongst the trees, pulling down. I'm talking about the rebounds you really like. There's only certain players can get them gritty rebounds, man. The kind that like, how in the world he get that rebound? That's Josh Hart, man. And I'm telling you, the Lakers gave up a dynasty, man. They can sit here, man, and they can tell me, be thankful for that bubble, be thankful for that dude coming to the team and saving the franchise. Well, he ain't saved the franchise, because I got a list of dubious marks that the wrong side of history that has taken place over these past 7 years since they brought that man to the team. And the very first dubious moment was bring him to the team, and then you become the oldest team in the league practically within a season when you were just the youngest team in the league. So your future is gone, your real future. Then he was predicted to lead them to the Western Conference Finals. The Western Conference Finals, and they didn't even not only did they not make the Western Conference Finals, not only did they not make the playoffs, not only did they not finish with a winning record, not only did they didn't even finish 500. So it started off on a bad note. It wasn't the young core fault. You see what I'm saying? And right now they blaming people. They blaming this guy. They blaming that guy. They blaming the head coach. Once again, Rob Pelinka, man, he gotta get on the phone, man. He got a long summer ahead. It's the same nonsense, dog. But you had it all up front because you drafted them naturally. You had them right in your. Because what's crazy is, Jared Vanderbilt, no fault of his own, man. This ain't really talking about it. It's proven that the output is greater than the input. Vanderbilt's supposed to be the defensive specialist of the team, but he's not known to be a great rebounder. So really, come playoff time, man, he can't match up. You can't play him extended minutes, man. But Josh Hart, you can start him. Last year, he was down there playing 48 minutes a game in the playoff and held up. So my point is this, man, the talent that we gave up. And like I said, all the young core members, they excel at a certain element of the game. Josh Hart with his rebounding, his defensive prowess. Brandon Ingram in his mid-range game, the best mid-range prior to this year. He was the best mid-range scorer in the NBA for any player 30 years or younger. Right? Okay. So he's trying to reestablish his career in Toronto. Julius Randle was the main reason why Minnesota beat the Lakers in 5 games. First player since Larry Bird to score 24, 10, and 6. 40% shooting from 3 and 80% shooting from the free throw line. Lonzo Ball was becoming the league's first ever 3-and-D point guard before the injury. Zubac, what can we say about Zubac, what he did this year? And what was crazy is we just got word that the Clippers just fired Ty Lue. Now they can get a coach up in there, man, that's going to feature him in their offense consistently. And I guarantee you he'll be an all-star next year. Book it. He's going to give you 22 a game and double figures of rebound. Book it. That's what he's going to do next year. And they ain't replaced him since they traded him in 2019. Kuzma, for 2 years in Washington, he was the best clutch shooter in basketball in the last minute of a game. He was shooting 70% from clutch in the last minute of a game. That means he was playing above a superstar level. I mean, Alex Caruso, his value as a defender, man, you know, and his ability to hit the three-point shot coming off the bench. With 3 years ago, his first year with the Bulls, Chicago Bulls, he was leading the NBA in steals per game coming off the bench. He was leading the league in steals per game. I can go on and on and on. It's just never-ending proof. Jordan Clarkson, 6th man of the year. Larry Nance Jr., jack of all trades. The high energy guy. He was kind of like your Kurt Rambis type. You know what I'm saying? They had it all. All they needed was that star player to anchor them, to solidify the foundation moving forward in the future. And you still bringing in the Austin Reeves. You still bringing in the Max Christies. You still bringing in the Scottie Pippen Juniors. You still bringing in the Dalton Connects, who's probably going to be traded. And it's a darn shame. But like I said, man, I'll play it one more time. This is what they said about Josh Hart on draft night. And I'm going to head on out of here, man. I'm telling you, dog, the talent that we gave up. That's what I'm saying, man. I was so freaking excited. God is my witness, man. I got goosebumps, dog, doing that Summer League tournament, man. But look, this is what they say about Josh Hart.
Just a few moments ago, Jeff Goodman reported it. Lakers are going to end up with this pick, a deal with the Jazz. Tony Bradley's on his way to Utah. Jazz going to make this pick.
Last
Will
of
he
the
be on his way to LA?
guaranteed With the 30th pick in the 2017 NBA Draft, the Utah Jazz select Josh Hart from Villanova University.
So Derek White.
That marks the end of the first round. Thank you to the great fans here in Barclays. We really appreciate your being here. The second round will be conducted by Deputy Commissioner Mark Tatum.
It took us into the final two.
Check it out, people. Check it out. The year he won it, Lord have mercy. The year that he was drafted, he won a national championship.
The second round will be conducted by Deputy
He was
Commissioner
selected
Mark
and
Tatum.
voted Big East Player of the Year. I'm looking at it right now. He was the Big East Player of the Year. And
It took us into the final two.
he won the Julius Erving Award for the nation's top small forward. I didn't even know that. He helped win a national championship. He was the best offensive rebounder in the nation at his position. He was the Big East Player of the Year. And he won the Julius Erving Award for being the nation's top small forward. And we just kicked him to the curb, y'all. And what's crazy is he could have been playing with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert in Utah. When Utah was kind of getting started, you know, the Donovan Mitchell era, you know, and Utah was a good team. Well, he could have been playing for Utah. The Lakers pulled that off and acquired the draft rights to select Josh Hart. See, they increased the value of their franchise with the young talent. They've been going in reverse with this dude on the team. And they have to come up with antics and gimmicks to justify him being on with the franchise. Whereas you had the top college talent. They winning awards, man. They winning awards. I didn't even know Josh Hart got that. He the best rebounder this league has ever seen, pound for pound, since the merger. And he was brought in by Los Angeles Lakers. And he was kicked to his second year. His playing time was cut because they brought in Michael Beasley and Deshaun, what's his name? Stevenson, Lance Stevenson. Them old guys, dog. Telling you, dog. That's why I say the Lakers was revolutionary. They really drafted the NBA's first ever true young core roster. Full fledged. I'm talking about like from 1 to 10, damn near and beyond. We had the first ever young core of the one and done era, and it was all casted out to the wind, dog, in record time. It's insane, dog. It's insane. That's why I've been holding on to this, man. And as I say, I watched all 82 games. Like I said, maybe it was done for a reason, man. But we gave up. That's why Kyle Kuzma said, I'm surprised we gave up all this young talent. See, Kyle Kuzma would be better than he is right now. But when you have to go through an experience like that where you're devalued, you have to play lesser than your ability, you kind of lose your sense of who you can be as a player, reaching your potential. See, Brandon Ingram would be better than he is right now. Kyle Kuzma would be better than he is right now. Now, Randall, they let him go essentially after his third full season with the team, where he wasn't stunted, but he still had to reestablish. He had to bet on himself. Zubac's been devalued really since he's been traded up until this season. All of a sudden, people shocked about him, but that's what I'm saying, man. When I say I watched all 82 games, I locked in, man. It was like, you know, I was like scouting each one, man. That's if you notice when I do these videos, I don't favor one. Now, although Brandon Ingram, because I see him like if Ingram would have had opportunity to work out with Kobe Bryant, the great Kobe Bryant, couldn't nobody mess with Ingram. Ingram was missing. The one thing Ingram missed out on coming in so young, because remember he was 18 when he was drafted. What Brandon Ingram missed was, in his true development years, working out with a guy like Kobe. If he would have got a chance to work out with Kobe, man, couldn't nobody touch B.I. Because it kind of seemed like there's another level that hasn't been tapped into his game. He got all the tools. He just needed. That's what I'm saying, man. When you bring in a mercenary like this dude, man, he'll cash you to the wind. He don't care. All he want to do is try to say he the GOAT, which he ain't even in the vicinity of Michael Jordan. He ain't better than Kobe Bean. But my point is, man, if B.I. would have had a chance to work out with a Kobe like for like a full year, lights out. When nobody want to face a B.I. When nobody want to face him. But like I said, Josh Hart, man, he got the heart of a lion. That's why I said I can't let that young core go, man. Because when I watch them play, in my mind, they got the Laker uniform on. Even though I know they're not playing for the Lakers, they the true Lakers. The Laker fans know they are. The talking heads know they are. The history of the game, when all this madness ends, is going to show who the true Lakers are, man. The true Lakers. Julius Randle. He's the original young core representative. D'Angelo Russell, to a degree, but even D'Lo said when he got drafted, he wasn't ready for the NBA. See, Josh Hart played all 4 years. Kyle Kuzma played all 4 years. You see what I'm saying? So they came in making an immediate impact, for what they was asked to do. But D'Lo, he's kind of, I don't really consider him part of that, but he's still drafted by the Lakers. And he did lead the team to the playoffs in Brooklyn in 2019 and was an all-star. But Julius Randle, B.I., Josh Hart, Kyle Kuzma, Lonzo Ball, Larry Nance Jr., Ivica Zubac, Thomas Bryant, Alex Caruso, Jordan Clarkson, Mo Wagner, who's been playing steady for Orlando since he was traded to them. All of them, they're the real Lakers, man. See, that's what's crazy about this. Even 7 years after the fact, they still staring everyone in the face, dog. It ain't like they done fell into oblivion and got demoted to the G League, man. They helping it. B.I. led the Pelicans to the playoffs twice without Zion on the court. When Zion's supposed to be the franchise player. The team was built around Zion, but he ain't out there. B.I. led them to the playoffs twice. He put the team on his back, short-handed, and got into the postseason. Right? Randall, led New York to the playoffs for the first time in 7 years. Hart is helping the Knicks win games, dog. It ain't like he just out there as a fill-in. No, he was on the court last night when Boston went up by 20. He kept them in the game, just like Randall kept Minnesota in the game throughout this series versus the Lakers, and put Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, in position to close the game out. See, their value is off the charts. You bring them all back together right now, man. You had the right star player. They winning the championship because they all excel at a certain aspect of the game. See, the versatility was off the charts. See, and that's why it was put in my heart, man, when all this started. No, I got they back. I'm going to watch them wherever they go as much as I possibly can. And I try to give an update of what they doing, man. This dude dropped he led the New York Knicks in scoring last night. So for all practical purpose, he was the best player on the court for them when it mattered. You see what I'm saying? And then Brunson, once he got going in the end, he did what he do. Karl Anthony Towns played one of his better games of the postseason, but Josh Hart was the anchor yesterday. That's what I'm saying, dog. We had it all. And like I said, man, this dude was the Big East Player of the Year, and the Lakers drafted him. The Julius Erving Award winner for being, of all the small forwards in college, that year he was the best. But they gonna tell you we didn't have no talent. But they have to reinforce that to rationalize, number one, bringing this man to the team. Number two, getting rid of all of them. But what they got, 2 consecutive first-round exits and more questions and answers, and a lineup that's incomplete. But they try to polish these low-tier players. They got to roll up in here to fill the roster out and try to convince you, because the Hurricanes on the team, that he can lead them to the promised land. But they getting dusted in the first round. See, that just showed you. I don't care if he was in his prime. He ain't going no 8 straight final. Kobe and Shaq dominated, won 3 straight. They didn't go to 8 straight. Tim Duncan got 5 championships. He didn't go to 8 straight. You're not finna do that in the Western Conference, dog. That's why I say it's all fugazi, people. We gave up a freaking dynasty. This man is 6'4", 6'5". He pulling out rebounds that Joel Embiid can't get. Matter of fact, in this series last year versus Philadelphia, when they beat him in the first round, Josh Hart was out rebounding everybody on the court, including Embiid. That's his skill, dog. You see what I'm saying? And that's a reflection of how good a defensive player he is, man. I'm telling you, dog. I'm so proud of the fact, man, that I never let them go, dog, because they the real Lakers. Them talking heads, they can't fool someone, man, who truly love their team. And when I'm saying truly love their team, is understanding the value of what we had. And here they are again, scrapping and clawing. They got to make more moves. Oh, man, they got to get a big, and they got to get athletic. See, the whole problem is what they try to do, and I'm going to shut this down, what they try to do. Like I said, halfway during the 22-23 season, this is the year where Oklahoma City started to make their ascension. When they beat, now they was one game away from advancing to the playoff. The Lakers was about to miss the playoffs for the second straight year with the Hurricane on the team. I think they got bailed out. They got an infusion of young talent. Hachimura, Vanderbilt, Beasley, D'Lo, Obama. And then during their offseason, they signed Cam Reddish, Jackson Hayes, Gabe Vincent, Taurean Prince, then Christian Wood. I think it was somebody else they signed too. I mean, they signed so many players I can't. But they try to present them as the new young core. They try to say, oh man, well, they got a new young core. They got a tremendous future. In less than 2 years, what are they saying? They ain't got enough depth because they didn't have the depth to begin with. Because they try to polish them players off. The majority of them are low tier. Like Cam Reddish was already on his 4th team. And he was like, 23, 24 years old. Vanderbilt was averaging 5-6 points a game in Minnesota before they traded him to Utah for Gobert. Jackson Hayes was a backup in New Orleans. You see what I'm saying? So they try to convince fans that they were better than the real young court, but they can't hold up. That's why they rat back at square one. It's not because of Luka Doncic. It's because they can't replace them, primarily them 13 draftees that they let go, especially the cornerstone. They can't replace them. That's the problem, man. And you see it every year. That's why when they accelerate their trade to get Anthony Davis, they were trying to get that third superstar, but they couldn't get it, so they had to bring in all them old players. Danny Green, he was gone after 1 year. Then you bringing in Deion Waiters and J.R. Smith, Jared Dudley. What are we doing, dog? They know. That's what I'm saying, dog. They traded away a decade for 1 year. They can't tell me nothing different. But like I said, man, this is why. When I see other teams out there building Oklahoma City, look what they did last night to Denver, man. And Denver's a squad. Look what OKC did to them last night, man. That was destruction. That was showing the world, man, we're going to be here for some years. You see what I'm saying? Houston, they made a good showing for themselves. They, first playoff with they new era of players, Jalen Green and Şengün. But they say, you know what they can say to themselves, man? We got a good coach there, Udoka. We just tweak the lineup. Everybody improve from within. We're going to come back next year better. You know what I'm saying? It's value that was saving the NBA right now. Is the youth movement, man. That's what's saving the NBA, dog. It ain't the veterans per se. They aging out. They didn't have their moment, man. They youth infusion, dog. And like I said, the Lakers at the forefront of all of that before all this started. But they devalued the franchise so bad and win now to where they don't really know what they want to do. They didn't have it all. But yeah, Josh Hart, that guy, man, he the best. He gonna go down in history as the best pound for pound rebounder this league has ever seen since the NBA ABA merger. And I didn't check. I didn't did my research. I ain't gonna throw nothing out there that's exaggerated. I ain't trying to show no bias. I ain't trying to trash in the past. It ain't even about trash in the past. He proving it, boss. That man averaged damn near 13 rebounds in the playoffs last year. 13. And we just gave him up, man. We gave him up. And the Lakers, they can't rebound right now. That's one of the main reasons why they lost to Minnesota. The rebounding. But I just want to throw it out there, man. Please leave your comments and thoughts. Like I said, when I do these, man, see, these talking heads, they only geared on pushing a certain player. It's not about the league for them. See, when Jordan was and the Bulls were dominating in the 90s, particularly their first three-peat, 91, 92, 93, they promoted every single young talent, premier young talent that entered the NBA. From Shaq to Penny, Larry Johnson, Alonzo Mourning, Glenn Rice, Jamal Mashburn, Grant Hill, Jason Kidd, Allen Iverson, Jerry Stackhouse. This is even before you get to like KG, Kevin Gordon, and Kobe Bryant, Purvis Ellison, Derek Coleman, Ronnie Cycli, Steve Smith. I'm talking about even Nick Anderson from University of Illinois, Kenny Battle, Kenny Anderson, Kendall Gill. And they promoted all the teams, dog. That Mitch Richmond, the Run TMC, Chris Mullin, who can shoot your eyes out. Tim Hardaway, UTEP two-step. Then you had KJ, Kevin Johnson. They went by initials, KJ. You know what I'm saying? And then the Admiral, the David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley, Sean Kemp, Gary Payton. Man, you knew Karl Malone, John Stockton, dog. I'm telling you, man. I can go on and on and on. But please leave your comments and thoughts. I would like to hear your opinion about this. But as I always say, until next time, this your boy JB. This your show, BTB. This has been Behind the Bench.